Hello and welcome back to another video on Warno Ranked 1v1. Today we're playing on Black Forest. We're playing against Hans Terrier and he's playing 5E Division Blindee. And I am playing Mbad again. So first off, just going to take us through the deployment and then be casting over the rest of the game. So, yo. Start off with this map's kind of ideal for MNAD. So you've got really nice open lanes on this side of the map for HGM spam, as well as a city fight, which is what the infantry really excel in, and what you'll see in this video. But to start off with, I like to keep the flanks covered. So 9 times out of 10, no one will flank around this area. So you can usually leave it open and then spend some really cheap recon points later in the game to make sure there's no helicopters or flanking down in the south. But I start off with the Eclair's Para Commandos, and I place them just on this kind of little point here. So you've got a nice view up the road, and they've got some decent anti-tank to deal with any incoming transports. I ideally don't really want to pressure for this point, just because it's a bit isolated and away from the rest of the points. So 9 times out of 10, if you're playing an aggressive airborne forward deploy unit, you will be fighting over this area. Or if you're playing a more slow armored regiment like 5E, you'll be playing over this area or this area. Obviously 5E having a lot of spammable tanks, so HGM spam is going to be key for this map. So to start off with my deployment, I opened up with quite a mixed variety of units. So on this side, we've got Paras. So Paras, we're heading towards the middle point here. So this is Bravo to secure any potential forward deploy. I mean, in the deployment zone, in the deployment phase, you want to be looking at what division you're playing. So 5E Division Blindee, they're going to have forward deploy they're going to forward deploy AMX-10 RCs, which are recon tanks, and they're very much pain to deal with. So you want to open up with sufficient anti-tank, as well as some kind of really tanky infantry, so that if you do get caught out, you don't instantly lose units. So I open up with the 8 Paras, so they're going to be coming over to these buildings, supported by Para Commandos. Once again, 2 very good units, kind of expensive, coming in around 75 to 8 points. So yeah, 70 points for Para Commando. For Paras is 85. But they get the job done. They've got some very nice infantry damage as well as some anti-tank. Then moving on, we've got our 2 ATGMs. So 1 ATGM will be coming here because it is just a fantastic building. Will 9 times out of 10 get pre-aimed by artillery, so you're always going to make sure if it fires, you have to move it, as you'll see in this game. But this is a very strong building, especially if you've got recon sitting kind of here or in this building. I mean, you can see the lines of sight. Fantastic. And then the other ATGM is coming over to the right side. Once again, another fantastic building. Will get sniped by artillery very quickly if you're playing against a good player. And so it's always best to keep moving around in these 3 buildings here, so you've got decent line of sight. Finally, sniper unit will be coming over here as well. Just once again, very fantastic recon unit. I cannot stress this enough. The sniper is, for its price, probably one of the best recon units in the game. It's nearly impossible to see, and you can get away with so many shenanigans. So exceptional stealth and very good optics. So you're exposing all of this. These buildings here are very popular for the opposition on the north side to put recon units in, and it digs out anything here. And you can also see any enemy unit front buildings here. And then my main deployment force, this side. So I've got 3 Mistrals, obviously coming over to 3 key points of the map. So you want to have a force here, you want to have a force here, you want to have a force here. And realistically, your main force is going to want to be around this area, because you want to be taking this urban area as Mbad, because your infantry is just incredible and you will shred any enemy infantry. I think the only infantry divisions that are better is 101st. With their Delta rifles, they're pretty strong. But we have our own alternatives, which are the Gurkha rifles, also doing fantastic work. Oh, and I think 56th as well have some really good infantry that you need to be aware of. Otherwise, yeah, the missiles are just here to deny any enemy helicopter rushes, so 5E do get a couple of decent helicopter units. But you'll see in this game, that doesn't really it. And then I'm kind of worried about any air opens, so I bring an ATMP LML as well. So this guy, I just fast hunt him, so press N to quick hunt, and I move him all the way up. At dangerous position, but he shouldn't be in range of any ATGMs from here. So pretty aggressive. And then to end it off, I've got a sniper coming onto the left side who will move into these bushes here. Once again, fantastic spot. Very hard to see. Like you have to move recon basically up to here to find the snipers, or to here. And he can see into this building, he can see into this building. It's just a fantastic spot. And then I bring up a triplet of ATMP Milan. So these are very useful for the start of the game because they get forward deploy. And what this means is they are airborne, so they get to deploy with the main airborne force ahead of everyone else. And they are Milan 2s, so once again, 24 pen, doing some really insane damage to any enemy vehicles. The range is alright as up, 2,450 meters. You'll be outranging most enemy vehicles. The only thing is it's a vehicle, so it will take ATGM fire back, and also its accuracy is 55%, which is a bit low even with the upvet. However, I move these guys, so they all get quick hunt orders. So I believe one of them's coming over to the left to shoot anything that sniper spots, and then one comes over to this right side as well, because it's just a nice little position for anything that tries to push. And I believe I placed the final one here. This is a really cheeky spot. A lot of armor divisions would like to sit vehicles on this road, and this little kind of bush here is perfect. As you can see, it shoots all the way down the road. And you'll see in the video I killed quite a few of his tanks. Sneaky little bush. Otherwise, I can't remember where the last one goes. I've probably haven't given them the order yet. But what makes up the rest of my force are some classic Mariners. As I said in my last video, these guys are a perfect chaff. I mean, they absolutely shred enemy infantry, and they're only 45 points. Plus the truck brings them up to 65. And they are 10 strength. They're just tanky. And then 2 scimitars, because a little bit of fire support is always good in the open. And I'll just bring them back here because I'm always conscious of ATGMs on this side and this. But let's get started. There we go, the final ATMP has had his move order place. Be coming over to this area. It's always really important to look at the start of the game and see which division you're playing, and then kind of try and predict to some degree with your own deployments on countering their initial deployment. So as you'll see very shortly, this guy brings out a lot of aggressive recon, such as Dragon Powers and AMX-10 RCs, which are their recon tanks. And I also notice, which in a moment we will see, and I always bring this command vehicle, the Burun's Iltis. Fantastic vehicle. It's expensive, coming in at 90 points, but it's fast and it's sneaky. With, well, actually no, never mind. I lied. It's mediocre, not very sneaky. I guess that's just because it's a command vehicle, but it's very small and you can sneak it into many areas. I'm claiming this one. Then I'll instantly move this up to there. So this is the first play of the game. He opens up with 2 jets, both Mirage F1 T200s. And I kind of like thinking, well, damn, at least I guess I brought enough AA. Mistrals are pretty good, coming in at 65% accuracy. So they'll be hitting most things, but the reload of 10 seconds is just abysmal. So don't overly rely on them. Try and bring some ATMP LMLs. Seen this video, they do a bit of work. I don't have anything to fear because he can't really spot me, and I don't have any air units. I don't tend to open with air that much. Not really worth it, in my opinion. First, Mirage takes a hit, and he's evacing. The second one, I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be flying these guys around. I think that's his first mistake, because he's now just flying over my territory, and all my AAs can't tear him up. And it dies. On this side, I see that I'm fighting a Claire's, so I pull back to the sniper, is just going to absolutely destroy it. And the Dragon Powers are pushing on the left. So this gives me an indication already he wants to play the left side. Which is fair enough, because he's 5e Blindee, he wants to play range. This is unlucky. This guy, 55% hit rate, misses the VAB and dies in the Milan. And then dies himself. But that's why I bring more Milans, and I hit his P4 Milan and kill it. There we go, there's the AMX-10RC, killing my Scout M2 half, or 50 cal light vehicle. I brought this just because it's good to fire support down any infantry that push into here, but I did not expect him to be so aggressive with the AMX-10, who then he pulls back with. And you'll see in a minute, he's going to RT this building down. My next tick, I bring up more recon, and I also bring up a AA vehicle, because I think at this point I'm like, oh, he's brought 2 planes out, he's probably going to air spam, even though 5E isn't probably the best for it. Probably, it's a decent first purchase, you know, 70% accuracy, 3,000 injury meter range, it's alright as it goes for radar-based AA. But that you'll always need to micromanage these guys because seed will absolutely destroy them. So I'm moving him quite aggressively up. So this is not initially where he goes. Move him even further up because I want to have a nice AA envelope behind my units. My next hit, I buy more infantry, some Marineers and Paracommandos, and then Krakatau's just replace the vehicle I lost. And these guys are coming over to the left because I need to reinforce this site. This is perfect fighting environment for me because it's buildings and close quarters and this resolute units and shock units. And so far, that is it. Some Krakatau's coming up just to replace the lost vehicle as well. I've learnt my lesson. I'll play some further back this time. But I know I've killed the Milan vehicle over here, so all I have to worry about is the VAB. Otherwise, that is it for now. I'm just kind of waiting for points to tick. More Milan 2s. And as I said in my previous video, you always need more recon. 9 times out of 10, if you're getting killed by something you can't see, it's because you don't have enough recon. So I bring a sniper up to push it into this kind of bush here, and then slowly creep across this field, as due to the exceptional stealth, you will not be spotted. And I bring up some Eclairs, so they will be coming here, because as you can see, I push quite far up with my infantry, but I have no recon, so they are blind. And then here comes the RT. You're going to be pretty quick with your reactions, you're going to move the Milans out of the way. 9 times out of 10, RT will be going for your most expensive units, which would be the Milans, and anti-air units such as my Rapiers. So always make sure you're moving these guys around after they fire. They're very weak and they're very expensive, coming in at 80 points just for a Milan 2 unit. So just shuffle them around. As you see here, I just shuffle him just aside because he's still covering the main road, which is the whole point. But yeah, as I was going back to my previous point, always bring lots of recon. I think I have like I have 4 recon units in this deck. Maybe I'll go over and preview it in another video. But MNAD gets access to some really nice recon units such as Pathfinders, the Eclairs, recon buggies. So it's a very nice, and snipers as well. So it's a very nice kind of collection of units to use. Especially the recon buggies, as you can also get 80 gems with them. But like I did in my previous video, some aggressive recon with the Marineers. They're really cheap chaff and they're very tanky, so they won't die instantly. And I can kind of get away with face checking any of these buildings here to see what he's got. And then the rest of these recon units will come and pick up the rest of the work. As you can see, I'm completely blind here, but once the recon units arrive, it's a completely different story. He's brought 2 artillery guns now, so this guy's starting to invest in artillery, so I move these guys back. Bring up Milan 2 as well, because, I mean, this is perfect. Look at his tanks driving in, I can hit them from both sides very easily. Other than that, it's now just a waiting game, kind of building up my forces. That's kind of my number 2 rule in Warno. Is number 1, you always need lots of recon, and my number 2 rule is always build up your forces and trade up. So right now, I'm doing pretty well. I've only really lost a couple of cheap tow vehicles and cheap recon. I've not lost any infantry. And I'm slowly going to retake this sign once I realise I finally arrived. So yeah. Milan 2 opens up on the MX-30B. This guy's unlucky. He smokes, but the momentum from the missile still hits. And then I leave the district. He takes quite a fair bit of damage and brings supply. Another Eclair's recon coming on the left. He's going to sit in this building as well. It's a bit more of a deterrent. And also a little bit of fire support for the mini paras and anything that's hiding in here. And then on the right side, I'm slowly moving up the sniper, because at this point I'm like, he's not got anything here, which is actually giving me a free path into this area here. And also, none of us went for this, which is crazy. Usually it's one person will take this and the person will not contest. That's maybe some hindsight. I should have gone for that straight away. Milan 2 fires and misses, so I moved district with him, because he's going to get arty straight away. It's kind of impressive, 55% rate missing. And this guy is just trying to snipe my Milan. I think he can see this, to be honest. Probably something in here, which I should have realised and tried to dig out, but at the time I was focusing on micromanaging the arty, so there's now quite a few guns firing. And this paracommando's just getting slapped around. But yeah, so the recon's doing some fantastic work getting eyes on their vehicles. It's kind of crazy how I cannot see this VAB from this building, but I can see it from these bushes. Recon in this game is a funny thing. And then on this right side, I realized, hey, there's literally nothing here. So here comes the infantry spam. I bring up paracommandos first, followed by some really nice pathfinders. I haven't covered you guys yet. I mean, 5 assault rifles, 4 medium machine guns, and a decent anti-tank rocket launcher for 85 points. That is mental. And they get commandos, special forces. They deal more damage and take less suppression, and then they also get shock on top of that. So at point blank range, these guys shred. But I haven't really played around with them much yet, because I'm quite relying on the cheaper recon. But as you'll see, I use these guys to push forward into this area here. Here comes the arty. So I don't know how he can see me, but he kind of guessed I was in this building, so I moved these guys out. But then he only fired 1 round. My paracommandos, Mariniers, moving up here, just to clear out this area, see if I can kind of get a pincer on this side, and pressure the point, as ideally I want to be taking this and this at the same time. And this guy's currently got a +1 ticket lead on me. The artillery is really starting to annoy me, so I do something that I always quite like to do in my games where the guy brings lots of artillery. First off, helicopters in the back line just to make sure there's nothing sneaking through the Black Forest. And then I also bring 1 on the flank here. Oh, here we go. I lose a Milan 2 as well, because I was cocky and moved him back into the building. And he's currently just blind firing all these areas here. I bring a ATGM heli over here as well, because you'll see in a moment, I'm just going to move him all the way around the edge of the map, and then bring him behind where the artillery is. And then I'm just digging out his recon, so actually his recon probably could see my recon quite easily. Sniper is the only one that can see him. I move these guys in. And now on this side, I'm moving forward all my infantry. I brought some Gurkhas as well. Very nice anti-infantry kit. And I brought 4 more scimitars over, because fire support is fun. So, Pathfinders go around the flank, see if I can try and cut off any reinforcements coming here. Meanwhile, still playing dodge the artillery on this side of the map. It's not fun. The Alpha F1s that the 5e get access to are very nice and a big pain. But as you can see, I'm just building up my forces on the side. I swapped. I doubled up on ATGMs here. So that this one can't see anything actually, so that's a misplay on my behalf. See down this road. So now I start my push into the city, and at this point it's kind of already over for this guy. He's heavily invested in artillery, but he's not killing enough units. He's just destroyed a Marinier, and he's destroyed 1 ATGM with the artillery, and that's about it, to be honest. It's not worth the investment at all. And you'll see in a moment, I just deal with his artillery very easily. And then I bring my own guns just to fire. I can't remember where I choose to fire these. Oh, the church. This place is really annoying, the vision it gets. I always recommend putting 1 recon unit in here, and always, if you're on the opposite side, just always pre-fire this. It's going to be always recon in here at HGMs. So at this point, I'm waiting for more infantry to arrive, and this is very dangerous. Always make sure you check your pathing, and I could have just lost a lot of expensive units here by not being careful, and you always want to path them through this area instead. You see the difference? I placed the Gurkha here, and the other 3 on the top, and they do completely different paths. But I realised, and I'm like, well, maybe there's no vehicles here, or infantry, so I just send some recon up just to find out. And then I get counter-batteried. Once again, one of my weaknesses is I'm not quick enough in moving my artillery to escape counter battery. However, these are also towed, so it takes ages to hitch them up for some reason. At this point, you can see the helicopter's doing its grand journey around the flank of the map. And on this one as well, but he dies. This guy is doing a very good example, though, of like how annoying artillery can be to deal with if you don't have any counter battery of your own. And I'm kind of relying on this sole helicopter to make it. But now I'm deep into the city, and it's pretty much over, like, for the city fight, because nothing he has can kind of beat this. Somehow my power commanders get routed, which is kind of a pain. But, I mean, the Gurkhas are arriving, the power commanders are arriving. I've got fire support moving up, and I've got a hell of a lot more infantry coming in. Here's tanks come across my ATGM line. They will die too. And I just moved the powers up. I crossed into the city as well for the Marineers. Also, once again, shredding any infantry. The peelers are not going to do anything to these guys. And that is pretty much it on this flag. What this guy could have done differently is honestly just really pushed me hard on this side. I'm pretty sure we had recon in this building. And here we go. Very satisfying flank. The artillery units. Oh no, they're logistics vehicles. I guess I'll start with killing the logistics first. I kind of just Q-moved him onto the point. But honestly, you need to pressure this with artillery and maybe get some recon into here and spot it, because at this point I control so much of his map, so his side of the map. He can't move units down into this point. He can't move units down across here because they're just going to ATGM, and I've cut it off now and he's getting encircled. He needed more infantry in this side as well, and more fire support in the buildings around here. He kind of just let me waltz on in, and also recon on this side. And also just to pressure me here. I mean, this is a free point for him. I'm not going to contest this because it's open ground and pain to take. Oh, there you go. There goes his first artillery piece. So he actually just literally instantly brought that in and then didn't realise, actually. Coax 50 cal proving to be a pain, but it's not going to matter. And that's 2 of his articans destroyed, and then there's a 3rd one, and I killed that one as well. But he invested too much in artillery. Like, these are very expensive units coming in at 230 points a pop, and he just gives up, which is something I really don't condone either. If you can avoid it, don't instantly give up, because 9 times out of 10 you will be able to drag out the match longer as long as you play conservatively. However, I think for this, losing 3 AMXs, what, 230 points a pop that's like 3.5 ticks worth of points. So that's kind of where the lack of infantry was apparent. He spent it all on artillery. And don't make that mistake on buying loads of planes and loads of artillery. You always will need more tanks, more infantry, more recon. And then again, like, the KD was just pretty decent, but I feel like most of that is credited to this one helicopter sneaking through the lines and killing their artillery. I'm sure if I hadn't killed the artillery, this game would have lasted a lot longer. But I feel like I'd still win it because I'd taken over the city and was moving in my command vehicle, and I'd taken the right side of the map as well. Oh, and then cluster mortars as well, doing a little bit of work, that's all. But yeah, some key takeaways from that video is essentially always buy your recon. You can't have too much recon, especially when you've got really nice recon such as Pathfinders and the Clairs and the Snipers. And also, playing divisions like this, which rely heavily on infantry, make sure you bring an ample amount of ATGMs, especially to do with the open maps. As you can see, his division should absolutely stomp Mbad, but it didn't work this time because I had enough ATGMs to just deal with the AMX 30s. And as you can see, most of my kills are accredited to ATGMs. So the PAR here, ATGM, helicopter, the Milan 2s, and that's pretty much it. Well, thank you very much. If you like the content, this is my 2nd video in the kind of this series of me giving casting my own games a try. Maybe I'll do some live casting again soon. Please just give a like and a subscribe. And let me know what you think in the comments down below. And I'll see you again soon. Cheers, cheers.